We got to pivot, talk a little rookie minicamp with our guy, Zac Jackson. Zach's brought to us today by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you're unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until right now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand offering a wide range of products, from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around and are committed to serving Northeast Ohio. The Cleveland location is in Shaker Heights, but there are 5 brick-and-mortar stores across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to help make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customer first, so you leave feeling cared for, valued, and respected. Connect, simplify, and adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. For more information, head to buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in the only person who told us the truth from Browns camp last season about the quarterback position. It is Zac Jackson from The Athletic. And I texted Steve Becker over the weekend and said, Steve, we need Zac in on Monday to bring us some clarity from the only 2 eyes that got it right last year about what they saw from Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel this weekend. What's up, Zac?
Hi, guys. How we doing?
So who's the starter?
Probably Joe Flacco.
We did solve it, didn't we, over the last 3 days?
Yeah. I probably foolishly underplayed the amount of reaction that there would be to Rookie Minicamp.
I refuse to participate in this.
We mocked it all day Friday. We said that we predicted what's going to happen, and we saw respected journalists, guys. That's the thing that got me. Like serious, diehard, respected journalists that were writing things and posting videos like this was...
I told you Friday. I said you said what storyline is coming?
No. What we talked about Friday was what happened tomorrow going to make a difference? And then we were talking about how it was going to be reported. That's 2 different things. That's reality and some sort of alternative universe that we lived in which 5-yard swing routes suddenly become. This was an elite throw from a high level.
We have Zac here, so Zac, tell us what you actually saw, because we were not able to be there in person. Okay. I need your first.
Did anything make you go, "Oh my God"?
I mean, I'm impressed with the way Shedeur threw the ball. Like it jumps off his hands, it spins it. Now, I don't think it's about how it's covered. It's more about what we've seen.
Sure.
Right? Like this is what an NFL quarterback's supposed to look like. So,
supposed to.
In the realm of it, it's day 1. It's step 1. I'll remember one thing. Right? I'm watching from behind. And Tommy Rees, the new offensive coordinator, and Bill Musgrave, the new quarterback's coach, they are never further than we are from either guy, either rookie QB.
Standing right there.
So at one point, I kind of walk over to get a different angle, and Stefanski walks over, and it's Shedeur's turn. He calls him over. He relays something to him. Shedeur goes in the huddle. Like that's what they're evaluating. Take the play call, command the huddle, get everyone lined up. It's day 1. Right. The other stuff. They'll see. They know he can throw, right?
And that's already there.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing. And for Shedeur and Gabriel both, that's what it's going to be. How quickly do they process? How do they take advantage? I think the one thing that was newsworthy that came out of the whole weekend was Kevin saying, look, in rookie minicamp, it's not that much, but we did add competitive periods. We need to get these guys reps, and they need to maximize reps, so we're going to do this. We're going to sign more wide receivers because in the middle of practice, we're going to have an extra 7-on-7 session because guys have to be ready. So you look at Shedeur Sanders, he looks like he throws it like an NFL quarterback, and that's where we are. He starts on the field tomorrow with Flacco, with Pickett, with everybody else, and we'll see where they are. I think it's 2 weeks from Wednesday. Yeah, 2 weeks from Wednesday is the first time we'll actually see them full team on the field.
I'm interested in seeing what Kevin Stefanski has done and the way he's changed the way he runs practice. Can you give us some outlook on some things that he told and some coaching moments for both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders where they may have corrected them or tried to get them together on the field?
Oh, they were all getting coached, and Garrett, they were mostly next to each other. Almost every throwing drill was both guys dropping back at the same time, or certainly when they went one at a time, it was 3-4 plays and out. That's standard. What I think will happen as far as coaching points, I think he admitted the extra competitive sessions. Mm-hmm. I think it will be a little more competitive camp in general. But they're not big believers in overdoing it, guys. They're big on the sports science. They're big on this is a marathon. Whether we're going to be great or not, we're going to have fresh legs. We're going to do this. So that's what's going to change. I think he has to have some regret about how uncompetitive last year's camp was. But they scrapped the Greenbrier because they're doing 2 away sessions with other teams. Mm-hmm. It might only be a total of 3 practices, but there are going to be competitive elements of this. And I think last year they felt like, I think stuck is the right word. It's maybe not the great word. I think they got to the joint practices in mid-August, and they're like, this is how bad the offense looks. Well, what are we going to do? I don't think this year they think that because they have so many young guys and they're in the process. So we're at this weird intersection, right, where you have a veteran team, you have enough pieces to be certainly better than 3-14, but this is really about the future. And you're probably going to have a rookie starting running back, right? You definitely are going to have rookies filling out the bottom of the rotation at receiver and tight end if they're not playing a lot. And at some point this season, more than likely, history says it and reality says it, a rookie is going to be taking real snaps at quarterback for this team. Maybe two.
I know this is a stupid question because it's limited, but did one of the two look better to you in what they were asked to do than the other?
In just throwing the ball, it's not close. Shedeur Sanders.
It's not close
not
either.
Close, no.
Wow, that's okay. Now that's news.
That's news. But let me couch that by saying this is rookie minicamp.
Sure.
No pads, no full speed competition.
But
nobody coming to knock your head off.
It's telling. They're side by side, and they're not asked to do much, but they're both asked to do the same thing. And that one of them looked discernibly better than the other. I think that I didn't know that we would get that out of this minicamp.
We're standing here, Jay. They're on the field. They break the huddle from team stretch and team jog, and they go both pick up the ball and throw it. It's no question.
Wow, I think that's telling.
So, okay, let me extrapolate that. You got Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders side by side. At this point, obviously in their careers, Deshaun should be a little further along. But from what you've seen at this point, where would you say comparing the two?
Well, I don't think seeing an hour of Shedeur's, it makes that fair. But I always thought Deshaun's biggest problem was he held the ball. Like, it wasn't happening.
And we won't find out whether that's a problem until he sees live bullets.
Exactly.
We won't even learn that in training camp.
We watched them pick up the ball and get rid of it.
Yeah.
And it jumped off.
Let me ask you this, because this was the thing that I was most interested in going into the weekend. It wasn't so much what happened on the field. The fact that they did separate themselves a little bit, at least in your eyes, I think that's progress. I think it's good that we have some sort of pecking order early. But what I'm most concerned about, or I think interested in, is what he says. I didn't see all the interviews, but I saw a lot of clips. And I have to say, I thought the way he I thought he answered everything the way I would want him to answer if I was a media expert coaching him on how to answer these questions. If you were giving him a grade on how he handled that, the moment where he said, I couldn't afford to buy my number because I don't have that kind of signing bonus. I thought that in that moment, I thought he won fans over with that.
Right.
It was funny and it was self-deprecating. And I thought, that's an A+ answer. How would you grade him on all of that stuff?
Pretty high. And really both quarterbacks and really all of them, I thought they all have come off as impressive kids. But yeah, no doubt. And like the Tom Brady answer, he said, my story's going to be similar. Yeah. And he immediately turned that and just said, look, that's where I got drafted. That doesn't matter now. I'm here. Yeah. You know, the story that was passed along by Joe Varden about the Cavs in the locker room, they played during the draft, right? And they were all celebrating Shedeur. What do you think? And he says, well, I would love to go to a game with my teammates. And he says, and I heard they won, but I didn't hear it till this morning because, guys, I was in the playbook all night.
Right.
Like, whether that's true or not, that's what you're supposed to say.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. And so, look, Dillon Gabriel was 6 years in college at two very high-profile programs. He's a polished kid. He's a super smart kid. Like, they're going to say the right things, and I think they're going to study. And especially for Shedeur, I think that's what it's going to come down to. If he's going to stick around here, it's going to be taking meetings, taking every opportunity, walk through, being engaged, and going out. They know that he has the ability. The grades said universally he had first and second round grades, right? So if he wants to do that and take the next step, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. It's not going to be great. I mean, not all the throws were great, right? But
sure.
It's pick up the ball. It's an NFL arm. It looks like an NFL quarterback.
So you said at the beginning, I think you and I disagree on this because Jay was joking around and said, "Who's the quarterback?" And you said Flacco. I actually think it's Pickett. But so why do you think it's Joe?
I am not positive on that. But my thought is when they sign Joe Flacco is because they're going to go to training camp and Joe's going to come in and he's going to tell guys how it's supposed to look. Right? You need to be here. I've done it in this offense. I did it on no notice. So now we get this month and half of next month, and then we get 6 weeks when it goes. And I think that's why he's here, and I think that's why he'll win the job. They do like Kenny Pickett. And when people would say they do like Kenny Pickett back in March, I would say they can't because Kenny Pickett's a backup. And he is.
Listen, that's what I've been saying all along.
I've been trying to tell in my heart and soul, I'm on this competition. Let him compete.
You can like a lot of guys, but I separate the person from the art from the artist. And I've watched Kenny Pickett. We've all seen him for enough time to know that he's a backup quarterback. Yeah. I think, let me ask you this, Zach, because he's been pretty steadfast. It's going to be Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, a lot
and
of
I keep
Mary
hearing
Kay-
more voices
Mary
saying Kenny Pickett, Kenny Pickett.
Dede says the same thing.
I know, but
yeah.
So here's what I wonder. I wonder if the team is in evaluation mode. Do we have a team that might be sneaky like we had 2 years ago and with a full year of Joe Flacco can do something? Or are these draft picks so green and not ready and we're not going to be a team that can push for 9 wins? So if that's the case, then I'm fine with Flacco being traded to New Orleans or wherever and let Pickett mud it up for a year and see what can happen and try to get a better draft pick. But if they're in this thing to win it and they think they have the pieces to win at some level, I think it would be malpractice to put anybody but Joe Flacco in there.
Mid-August instead of mid-May for that, right?
Right,
but
sure.
It is early. But yeah, I think when you look at how bad things were last year, right, and how the run game didn't help the pass game, and how the pass game did nothing, and that didn't help the defense, right?
They played uncomplimentary football.
Yeah, when the schedule comes out on Wednesday and I do my piece on The Athletic, I'm going to pick them in 4th place, right? Most people are. But I don't think it's a given that this is going to be a terrible, terrible football team. I really don't. Can they run it? Well, the offensive line, if they're healthy and Judkins is as good as we think, Ford's still contributing, I think they can run it better, right? Is Njoku going to be there half the season? Is Judy going to be in training camp? He wasn't last year. They couldn't complete a pass at all. Cedric Tillman never even played until week 8, right? Yeah. And then he had a big stretch. So they're banking on guys that are either completely unproven or who've been up and down. But the pieces aren't terrible. And if they can run it and get back, they have 2 fullbacks on this roster.
Yes.
Right? Like they have 2 drafted running backs, 1 proven running back, and a guy in Pierre Strong who's playing a little bit. Like there's going to be veteran running backs become available. Like I don't think it's going to be terrible. Now, do I think if they get in shootouts are they going to win them? No. Do I think if Kenny Pickett's playing are they going to win a bunch of games? No. But I'm not I don't think this is a 3-win team. I think it can be. But I think there is at least some hope for optimism, and that starts with the defense getting a fairer shake, frankly, than the offense gave it last year.
I'm going to let McNuggets go. He'll probably steal my thunder, but go ahead, McNuggets.
No, I got one super quick one, Zach, then I got a longer one. Yes or no question. Zip?
Oh, my God.
That's the word that says Jason.
Yes. It's like you're reading my Twitter mentions. Like, yes.
Second question.
Yes.
There was the video of Mason Graham puking during the rookie minicamp, which obviously blew up, and I think it's ridiculous that anyone's making a big deal out of it.
I agree.
What did you see from the Browns? I know he doesn't get the most attention, but he was their first pick, the number 5 overall pick. What did you think of Mason Graham and the limited action you were able to see?
Yeah, I mean, you just see a defensive tackle running around with no pads on, right?
Yeah, what are you going to say? Yeah.
I love Mason Graham. I think his college tape was awesome. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's going to be a player. I think he fits the way Schwartz wants to play. I think he's good enough to evolve and play multiple positions. I think his floor is good, and I think there's a chance he's part of a really good D-line here for years to come. He's going to have to live with this one a little bit, right?
But was it DeJuan Jones? Who did that a couple of years ago? DeJuan Jones did, and we talked about that for 2 years.
Can I give you this as a guy?
Did you ever puke at minicamp?
I almost gave it up in freshman camp.
Yeah.
And what it is, when it's only a few people there. So what people don't understand is, as a defensive lineman, offensive lineman, you're taking back-to-back reps. Yes. It's like full speed, run the hoops, get back up in 2 reps. You like, bro, guys are used to breaks. He's out there gassed. They've been doing the buffet circuit. You're done with all the training stuff, and you get out there. You thinking you come out there to do a little moving around and take some pictures. No, the defensive line coach is in your face. You like, man, it's 2 of y'all, and you taking back-to-back reps. You're going to be gassed. I don't care who you are. It just is what it is.
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
And he'll eventually be sharing reps with a group of 8 or 10. It's the quarterback reps that are interesting because they're going to have to create more of them, and these guys are going to have to earn them. You know,
we kind of. We weren't making fun of them, but I guess we kind of were making fun of them. They showed the video on Friday of all the arrivals, which I think was Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know who said it. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was Bull. Said
it was Bull.
He looks like
Bull said it looks like a chubby kid from Avon.
Chubby kid from Avon. That's what he called him.
Yeah.
And he was in street clothes, and it wasn't impressive. And here's what I wonder with this kid. Clearly, if he looks like that but plays like this, this usually they look like Tarzan and play like Jane.
His tape is.
This dude kind of looks like a normal civilian and plays through the roof. I wonder because you said his floor is good. I think when he does develop into his man body, I don't think he has it yet. He clearly, to me, it looks like he's carrying around baby fat.
Yeah.
Like when he gets his NFL build to him and he's working out next to Myles Garrett, I think that would be incentive enough. To me, I look at this guy and say, holy cow, when he does find his man body, his NFL body, and he doesn't look like the fat kid from Avon, like Bull called him, I do think this guy can wreak havoc.
Yeah, I would say he looks fine, and he looks like an NFL defensive tackle. He doesn't look like most top 10.
Yeah, they're not supposed to look like Myles Garrett.
Because most top 10 defensive linemen just look like they just won the genetic lottery. That's why they're there.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Mason Graham looks a lot like many other defensive tackles on the Browns and on other teams. Not some of these freaky guys. But he's bigger than Geno Atkins was, and Geno Atkins had a Hall of Fame career.
Right.
He's the same size as Shelby Harris, who's on year 13 of a really good NFL career.
Larry Ogunjobi was like 250 or something. Larry Ogunjobi was thin dinner.
I think Marcel Darius, who had a really good career, played for Schwartz. I think that's the comparison that you're going to hear Schwartz give when he talks later this spring.
Really?
Mason's measurements are just short of his.
Okay,
right? And he's
interesting.
21 years old.
I've grown on the pick a little bit. I've been watching him because I'm like, let me see this guy. He had top 5. I've been watching him. His tape is pretty good. Now McNuggets did steal my thunder. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm a Nick Chubb fan. I am. I would shout out to Nick Chubb.
There's a butt coming.
Quinshon Judkins looked like he might be the real deal.
First impressions are rookie minicamp, right? Judkins, his muscles have muscles. Like he's built to be an NFL running back. And you look at his testing numbers, they're like Nick Chubb's. You look at where they drafted him, they're like Nick Chubb's. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it to
See, I let him
get
say
played back. I'm not saying it to put undue pressure
You
on
let us to
Quinshon
the water,
Judkins.
we'll drink it.
Right? Why did Judkins go in the top 40 picks? Because
Yeah,
that's
there's
what
a
he looks
reason.
like and that's what he runs like. You know? And so I'm interested to see what happens with Ford. He's very tradable going down the road. Dylan Sampson they like. It was a surprising pick because they had already selected one running back, and he's a smaller guy. But Judkins is a 220-pound, high-level NFL running back prospect.
Wow. If you had to say someone won the weekend, and it could be anybody.
No, I mean the guys that made the team, the tryout guys that made the team.
Kid from Kent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They won a chance to do that. But
How did he look?
I mean,
He made the
he's
team.
small, but he's gets in
Floria,
the right
right?
place. Yeah.
Made the team.
Luke Floria?
Yeah, and listen, he produced at Kent State, and they were so awful. Like, he was on radars.
He was the only player
went to
doing
one of the
anything at
All-Star
Kent. They lost 13 games.
Yes.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
What do you make of Kevin Stefanski? Should we read anything to this? Like he had 50 dudes out there. Like there were some times at camps you can count the amount of bodies they got in camp. It looked like they really was
Well,
looking.
it's a great question. Sometimes you're just doing the camp to do it, but when you have 2 quarterbacks, you want to have a camp. And when you have a team, there are jobs open, and these last 10 roster spots are going to be in flux all the way through. They wanted to have guys in there and give them a look. They brought in multiple fullbacks, tight ends, safeties, positions that they're going to need guys. So when you think about it, 53 make the team, right? 16 make the practice squad. So you add in some injuries, some veterans that might get cut or traded, right? Like 90 dudes are going to be on the field 2 weeks from tomorrow, right? 75 to 80 of those dudes are going to stick around in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Browns and you look how thin they are at offensive tackle, right, at linebacker, I know they just added a safety today. Like, these dudes are going to play, right? So they're practice squad last year or they're in rookie minicamp now, but they're going to play for better or worse.
Wow.
Are you surprised? It's totally off topic of rookie minicamp. When you mentioned tackle, are you surprised Jed Wills is still unsigned?
It has to be the injury. It has to be at this point. So yes, I am surprised.
I am too. Like I know, like we
How
all
often
bang
does
on.
that happen?
I mean,
Like where a guy doesn't get a second. Where was he drafted overall?
10.
10th.
Jeez.
and it's the knee, right?
Yeah.
I'm not putting this on nobody, but I just know when you have degenerative stuff where it's just like it never quite heals after that.
It never gets back to what it was,
Right.
and that could be a problem.
Right. And guys fall off the radar all the time, but left tackle, every team needs him. Right?
That's why it's so surprising to me.
Yes. So when he didn't sign immediately after the draft, and I need to dig into this, like it's got to be something to where like you have to call us back later because he just can't go right now. And that's what I thought last year when he wasn't out there at the very beginning of camp, and then still wasn't out there in the 3rd week of camp.
Sure.
We're like, what's going on? And he was never right. How he chose to present it is what made the headlines, but he was never right.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily a win.
So how's this going to go now with the quarterbacks from here? Like lay out the timeline of what people can expect as we move forward from now into the start of training camp.
So they're going to get 2 weeks of the last phase of the offseason stuff to where they're out like an hour a day, hour and a half a day. quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, running backs. So they're not going against anyone, but they're out there with their coaches. They're in meetings. They're scripting what they're going to do, and they're going to go out and throw and get seen. Then starts up to 10 OTA practices, right, where the full squad is there. You get 90 minutes, and it's practice. It's no contact, but it's a condensed day. You start with meetings, a walkthrough, and then you go out and practice. And so that's where the divvying of the rep comes in, because you're going to get live 7-on-7 and occasional 11-on-11 action. Right, like last year, that's when they brought in Tyler Huntley because they needed a second quarterback because DTR was still banged up. Right, and Deshaun was on that throwing program. So Kevin Stefanski, Tommy Reese, those guys are going to have to look at the 4 QBs and decide. And this is why Gabriel and Sanders are going to have to earn their reps. And so I think if Shedeur continues to impress and do the right things in the next few weeks and in the meeting room, that he will earn more reps. Because, look, why don't 3rd and 4th quarterbacks make it? Probably most of them aren't good enough. But when they do play, they get limited reps, and they're playing with undrafted free agents and XFL guys in the preseason with big defensive ends who are going to make the team or beating a 3rd-string tackle and chasing them down. Right? So throughout June, 3 days of mandatory minicamp, like I said, up to 10 practices. It won't be all the guys at all 10. Like, those are your opportunities to take advantage of the 7-on-7. Install some plays, take them to the huddle, get out there, throw it confidently, and get in line. They're not in a hurry to trade any quarterback. They shouldn't be. They're not in a hurry to make any decision. They shouldn't be. So I roll my eyes when Kevin says we're not concerned with who takes the first snap, right? Of course that matters. And he knows that we're all going to be tracking every snap. But every snap matters to an extent, and how they earn them, to me, is going to be more telling than what they look like showing up on your Twitter.
How does this crowded quarterback room, and it's an interesting quarterback room in that sometimes you just got a placeholder. There's just a body there. You said Huntley last year. Like, these guys are all here with a purpose. They're all here with intent, and they all can't stay here. So New Orleans, for instance, all of a sudden Carr retires, and they just leapfrog past the Browns as the worst quarterback room, or at least the most questioned quarterback room. At some point, someone's probably going to be traded. How do you see, from the timeline question, how do you see that playing out? Like, at what point will it become important? Before training camp? After training camp? What?
I would say into training camp at the earliest, because you're not in a rush. 2 Augusts ago, they traded a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
They traded Josh Dobbs, and that got DTR over his head, right? They tried to trade DTR last year. They even tried to trade Jameis. It didn't work out. They tried to trade Huntley. It didn't work out. Only one guy ended up getting traded, Malik Willis, because most people stayed healthy. So I think the Saints obviously are in a bad spot, but I don't think they're in any rush. They knew. And they drafted Tyler Shuck at 40th overall. They were out of the Shedeur business. They leaked that. They said they're taking Tyler Shuck. He's only 9 months younger than Kenny Pickett. So they're going to ride with
Are they playing the Manning sweepstakes already?
Say that again. That's insane.
Tyler Shuck is 9 months younger than Kenny Pickett.
That's wild. That's if we are sitting here, and this is going to be fascinating how they play it out, because everything in the backdrop of what we're talking about is, hey, this next quarterback class is good. We got 2 first-round picks. Are the Browns willing to sit, say, for instance, either Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders for an entire year and not take a look at them and move into next year and possibly still have a decision to make?
I think they are, Garrett, and I think that they would consider that ideal, because that means that you're getting good play out of someone and that you're playing meaningful games.
They don't need to play them.
Right? You're evaluating all your other guys. You're evaluating that guy every day in practice, and you're going out on Sundays and playing meaningful games. The question is, if you're 4 wins going into December, do you play the rookie just to play the rookie?
Yeah.
Right? Or is it so bad before that you have to play the rookie? Or does, ideally, one of the rookies play so well and perform so well that he deserves that chance, and then whatever it is.
Now, rightfully so, we're talking about all these other guys. There's one guy we're not talking about that makes more money than all of them put together. Is Watson in the building? Is he working out? Is he integrated in the team? Are they going to build a wall and keep him away from this group? Like, what's going to happen with him?
He is.
Listen, that's it. Aren't both of those legitimate questions?
They are.
You said
Build a wall.
Build the wall.
Yeah.
Who's paying for it, Jay?
Who's paying for the wall?
To play for it, but
You said you were going to build a wall 2 years ago, Jay, and you didn't deliver on it.
Pittsburgh's paying for this one.
we might make Houston pay for this. Like,
That's the least they could do.
I almost think that, it's what's ironic is 2 years ago, last year, Flacco wasn't back because Watson didn't want him back. Boy, it ain't no fun when the rabbit's got the gun. Now Flacco's in the driver's seat, and he can I think, voice to everybody else, I don't want this dude around me now.
So we're getting no peek at this for a while, right? And we only get to watch 3 OTAs altogether. But according to Kevin...
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that unusual?
No.
Okay.
No. According to Kevin, Watson's in the building. He's doing his rehab, and he's doing
in
the
the
quarterback
training room,
stuff.
like he's doing, like
Interacting with everybody.
Like when they have a 9 a.m. quarterback meeting, he's in it.
Wow.
I would love a camera in there.
Man, that's a show.
Now, whether he's cleared or not, and we don't know that answer because right now it's only, month 4?
Yeah.
Month 5 of his rehab. Whether they would put him onto the roster or whether they would drag it out, I don't think so. I don't think there's any plan, and I think next year after the season and all the dust settles, we'll see how big those piles of dust are, that they will formally exit the Deshaun Watson.
That's the final year, and that's the time to do it.
Yeah. Well, there's so much to be left. Because
there's kicks down the road.
You kicked it down the road, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
So they owe him right now about 170, and his number's about 36. So they'll still owe him about 135 million. Maybe some gets knocked off for insurance.
When it's all said and done, this will be the last question because I know we got to go. When it's all said and done, I remember I had said if this Deshaun Watson thing doesn't work out, you could set your franchise back 10 years. And people thought I was from Neptune. When will all of the punitive actions be done on Deshaun Watson's deal? Like all of these kicking down the roads and like what year will that be?
Well, right now it's 4 more seasons. How it's structured right now. But it will be restructured again, as it has to be. Because next year his cap number's not going to be 80 million. Unless they might make it more and get out from there, but it's not going to be that. So
is it a matter of just taking more of it on early and being done with it, or stretching the pain out over?
Yeah, right now it's set to be stretched out, but 80 is unprecedented, and even as the cap goes up, that's a quarter of the cap. Like you can't do that for a guy that's not playing.
No way.
But you can if you're in a rebuilding year and you say we're moving on. So.
Yeah, right.
Does this competition make you sentimental for Osweiler, Kessler, Kaiser?
Man.
And that was 8 years, and then so that was 17. Yeah, and they didn't win the game, but in 20 they went to the playoffs. So if you're looking at a multi-year timeline to have a competitive team, that's realistic.
Yeah.
If things don't go well this year, right? If a couple of these rookies aren't knockouts and a couple of these older offensive linemen get hurt, and the defense either doesn't perform or isn't given a fair chance to perform to its level, then this team will win 3 games again. I don't think that's a given, and I'm excited about this rookie class as a whole.
When do you start writing about the Browns, Saints, Manning sweepstakes? Who can suck more? Like, does that begin?
Every single day I write about Shedeur Sanders. I wake up writing about Shedeur Sanders. I go to bed. Went to bed at halftime last night. I'm well rested.
Well, thank you, Cavs. Thank you, Cavs.
Zach, you're the best. We appreciate
Love your
you
insight,
coming
brother.
in. You said it, Shedeur popped off the screen. Well, it popped into your eyes, however you want to phrase that properly.
Well, that's pause.
Yeah, that's not what I meant to say.
That's wild.
What is wrong
Zach,
with
thanks
you?
for coming in, man. We'll get to a break after that. Zac Jackson.